Liability insurance. First of all, thank you to Ms. Zalis and Mr. Durkin for the time they put in on this advisory council. Mr. Durkin did an excellent job being in the insurance business, going through a lot of documents, pushing back on the providers and vendors, asking questions that Kristen or I probably would not have even thought about asking, and so I do appreciate the work that Bill has done. Kristen's going to go over a summary report for you that basically compares the two options that we're considering. As I stated earlier in the meeting, after Kristen's presentation, I think the best way to handle this is our liability insurance expires in December, and we could ultimately approve this in December if we wanted to, but I think we have vetted this enough to where we're in the final phases of just negotiating some language in the policy, and Mr. Durkin and Ms. Zalis are assisting us with that. So after Kristen's presentation, if the board feels comfortable, maybe a resolution approving us to move forward with the particular vendor that we want to move forward with, and giving me the authority to work with my designees to finalize the policy and an agreement. Kristen, you want to go over the comparison coverage? Is that the best place to start?
Sure. So on board book page 63. But the Superintendent's Sub-Advisory Council, as Dr. Skinkis mentioned, met on November 6th to review the two proposals in detail. Subsequently, I put together a comparison of coverage chart along with highlights of each option that were included in the board packet. But on 63 is where the chart is, and you'll see the first column, ISIC, is what we currently have, and you'll see this year it is rather expensive. The total cost was $211,021. Our out-of-pocket cost was significantly lower because we chose as a cooperative to use some funds to offset that huge increase. So we actually paid this this past calendar year $144,616. So regardless of what option we choose, you'll see that both of them present as a cost savings. And so the first option that we looked at is SKIP, which is a cooperative, similar to the one we're in, but significantly larger. And the cost is from this year. They don't have numbers for next year's coverage yet. So the cost for this year was $124,358. They do anticipate that going up anywhere from 20 to 25%. Is what they had told us. So we would anticipate if we went with SKIP that would be approximately $150,000 for the district. The last option, which myself as well as the Sub-Advisory Council believe is our best option at this point, is to go with Alliant, who presented us several options, and the option in which we chose is Liberty Mutual. And as you can see on the bottom, the total cost for the coverage would be $117,674. That is a firm quote. That's one of the things we have been working on. So that is the actual amount that we would pay for coverage in 2021. Additionally, I think it's important to note that Alliant has some advantages. And initially, Franzik, which is our current law firm that we use, was not an approved counsel. And we were able to negotiate with Liberty Mutual to get them as an approved counsel for school board related issues and employment issues, which would ultimately save the district money if we had to go into any sort of litigation in regards to liability issues. With Alliant and Liberty Mutual, it's a 1-year commitment. If we joined a cooperative, it's a 3-year commitment. And right now with COVID and things being so uncertain and the liability market being so uncertain, I think it makes sense to go with a 1-year commitment and choose Liberty Mutual. Additionally, not being a part of a cooperative means we don't have to contribute some additional money to a loss fund, which is why one of the reasons why Liberty Mutual is significantly cheaper. The other reason, with not choosing a cooperative, we're able to really tailor the insurance to what we need as a district, which ultimately translates into some cost savings as well. As Dr. Skinka said, we're currently in the process of trying to finalize some language for policy exclusions with Liberty Mutual. They've been very responsive. We're just not done with that process yet. So if the board feels comfortable voting tonight, we can certainly do that pending review by the superintendent or designee. If not, the board will need to take action at the December meeting in order to approve going with one of the options presented.
I spoke with Mr. Durkin tonight. Obviously, he had a conflict. He could not attend tonight, but he was comfortable with this recommendation. I spoke with Ms. Zalis this afternoon. She was comfortable with this recommendation. As I stated earlier, both of them have put a lot of time on this. Mr. Durkin has really done a nice job going through each of the individual policies and really pushing back on our vendors with some specific questions. I think the biggest thing that Bill wanted to advocate tonight was the insurance market is tightening up. There's a lot of uncertainty with COVID, the pandemic, and all the liability exposure and things. So you're going to see cost of coverage go up and the amount of coverage cooperatives or firms are offering go down. He felt that it was a responsible decision to go with Alliant for at least a year to provide us that flexibility to see how this shakes out. My recommendation to the board tonight would be if we can get an approved resolution that allows me to finalize an agreement, working with my designees such as the policy or the insurance, liability insurance advisory council, and Ms. Matana and legal counsel, so we can get this moving to make sure that we have all this completed by the end of December.
Read what I wrote.
I think Mary Ann gave. Mary Ann, did you read give a resolution on the table for this?
Oh, you did? Okay, it's there? All right. Thank you.
So is there any questions in regards to the liability insurance?
After we vetted this, pretty good.
All right, Ms. Towner, can you read it?
Okay. The Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, approves the superintendent or designee to finalize an agreement with Alliant to select Liberty Mutual for liability insurance effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Second, Ms. Hureska?
Mrs. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
Ms. Towner?
Yes.
Ms. Salas?
Ms. Zalis?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
I think she's watching it on
All right, we'll go to the quest
There's like a delay.
for COVID-19.